first deck review for the standard bicycle playing cards. Now guys, I'm really excited because I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, and this is the first time I've ever actually owned a set of bicycle playing cards, guys. So I'm really stoked to bring you this review and to be upgrading to bicycle standard from now on. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. I'm going to be doing all my deck reviews from now on based on three things. First one, handling and performance. Second, durability. And third, aesthetics, which I think is quite important, guys. Now, within each of these themes, we're going to look at a little subcontext, but first, let's just start off with the actual deck review. So, here it is, the standard blue back bicycle playing card. Now, this is what you get in the deck. You get your full deck, and you get these two extra cards, guys, which is just basically advertising. Here's a blue one, there's your games one for bicycle. They've got a bit of advertising for their games and for some poker tournaments that you can get into for free. Now guys, these are just, advertising cards, but it's still got some value because look what you can do, guys. You can use these for your double lift practices, alright, for spins, for flips, for many other things, guys. If you want to practice your spins, you can use them, guys, okay? Wear and tear, these are perfect for it. If you need to make gimmick cards for some reason or you need to practice making gimmicks, guys, use these. Don't throw them out. It's a really good way of not wasting them and taking care of your deck, okay? So now let's get into the first thing. What we're going to be looking at is handling and performance. Now, you take them straight out of the box and guys, they fan pretty well. I want you to just take a look at that. Look at the edges of the fan, okay? And look at the artwork you can see inside of the fan, which is pretty nice, okay? It's really good for the fans and they spread beautifully, okay? They're just really, really nice to spread, okay? Just like so, guys. Different types of spreads that you can do. They're really good, very smooth, very easy to use, great. I just love the way they handle. So the performance and handling is pretty good. Now, shuffling. They're great for shuffling if you want to do your standard shuffles, your overhand. If you're into that stuff, guys. If you want to do your riffle shuffles, guys, they're really good for the riffle. As you can see, they just handle very, very well, guys. Now, depending on what you're into, we'll talk about aesthetics later, but the finish on these cards also affects the handling and performance, obviously. Because coming from different decks that I've used in the past to this one, it's obviously a big change. A drastic change for me, so I've had to get used to these cards, but guys, they're pretty good. I'm really into the bicycle decks. Now, false cuts. Pretty good on false cuts, guys. Again, because of the smoothness that I wasn't quite used to at first, some of the false cuts were a little bit tricky to get into, because that would happen because of the friction. You have hardly any friction in these cards. They're really nice because of that. So, as a personal tip to anybody who's using these cards for the first time, guys, start small. If you're going to be doing like one-handed cuts and things, normally this is what happens when an amateur does a one-handed cut. Slide. See that? Comes out. Alright, so start small, guys. Get half your deck. Start like that. Okay? That way you'll slide less when you need to do that stuff. Build your way up. That way when it's time to do the full deck, as you can see, it's much easier. And you're not going to mess up as much with more practice. Now, again, for the first cut that I had, quite difficult, but with enough handling, you can get over it and it won't make such a mess. Again, it's a matter of practice, guys, but like I said, start small, get your packets in, and your false cuts will be nice and crisp for the next time. And obviously more with practice. But I really like the feel of them, guys. The false cuts are great, really good, very nice. And yeah, I'm really stoked to have this bicycle deck. Actually, my very first bicycle deck right here for you guys today. So false cuts pretty good. Double lifts, great. Because of the smoothness again between the cards, whenever you're going to take it, as you can see, they stick together really, really well, guys. So it's very easy to do your double lifts, what have you. Alright. Just got to be careful on how you use it. If you're using the traditional double lift or you do this, you got to be careful not to let it slide too much. If not, you'll expose two cards. Okay, again, that's just a matter of practice, guys. Really like the deck, really like the way it feels, okay, the way it handles. Triple lifts as well, if you want to do triples, really good stuff. Okay, it's great. They're very good for your double lifts. And finally, for your counts, things like Elmsley counts or your Keishi spread or whatever, they're very good, very smooth, guys. So if you're going to show the cards, they're great, very smooth to move. Alright, good handling, really nice stuff. And just great for your counts. pretty much a good all-rounder starter deck for anybody who's getting into it. Okay, you can see, slide really well and handle beautifully. Really good deck, guys. Okay, so durability. This is obviously my blue standard deck, which I've just opened and just taken out. This is the red back deck, which I've had for about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks now, and I've been using this quite a bit. Every day, giving it a bit of practice. Now again, these come with same thing, your advertising cards. Obviously it's a red card. Okay, same thing. And guys, I've been using this for a while, like I said, and it handles pretty well. The only thing about the durability is that, obviously, depending on how much you use it and how you take care of it, the sides can get a little bit rough and they can get a little bit grey. Okay, so I'll be posting a video later on about how to take care of your cards and keep them in the best condition. The durability was a little bit lower than I thought, but it's not bad, guys. I mean, I've been using them a lot and practicing a lot, so you can't blame the cards, guys. So it's not bad, not bad. Now, aesthetics of the cards. First, let's talk about the box. Okay, that's the first thing. It's obviously a bicycle standard deck box, so that's what you got. You've got the ace of spades, got the pretty lady in the middle. Okay, nice design, really retro. That's what I like about the bicycle standard deck cards. Okay. Here you've got a bit of an explanation, Bicycle's vision, what they think they've put inside every pack. Hopefully you agree with it, I know I do. And in this standard deck they show you the back and front of the cards, right there. As opposed to the rider deck, which before used to just have a picture of the card like that on the back. But now they've got this. Okay, comes with your seal. Obviously it's your air cushion finish. If you don't know what that is, guys, we'll get into it, Google it, check out some videos on bicycle decks and the company, because it's really good and the finish is quite different to what I've ever been used to. So pretty much that's the box. Now let's get into the artwork of the cards. Okay, as you can see on a close-up, the cards have really intricate detail. Okay, there's a lot going on in the print. Okay, you've got the white edge around, which is great, and that's what I love about bicycle decks, is that most of them have the white edge around. So what does that mean? Well, if you need to do a false show or spread, first you've got all the white edges, so that's much easier when you're going to do a double lift, because there's some types of cards, guys, that don't have that. They're painted, or at least the artwork goes all the way to the edge, so that makes your double lifts harder to pull off, and false shows and stuff much more difficult. So that's one good thing that I like about the bicycle standard decks. You've got the white edge around. You're going to need that if you're going to be using performing illusions or anything like that. Now next, its aesthetics keep going on because of the royalty. We're going to talk about the royalty now in the cards, because that is part of the artwork, guys. As you can see, the royalty, I'm just going to pull out the standard 3 cards of royalty, guys. That's what you get. So really nice colors there, obviously, for a standard deck. There's your king, there's your queen. Okay, interesting enough, you need to know how the cards work. For example, all these are facing to the left. Okay, as you can see, some cards and some decks actually don't have that. Some decks have the royalty facing different ways. For example, if you look here, check out the queens. They're facing different directions. Okay, whilst here, they're facing the same direction. So you got to watch out for that, guys, because you can use that to your advantage or disadvantage depending on the situation. Check out the way that the royalty is looking. That's very important with any deck of cards. Okay, this kind of folds into my next point, which is about the one-way or two-way decks. This is a two-way deck. Why? Well, because if you look at the back, it's exactly the same as when you turn it the other way. Now, sometimes there are differences, and in most decks you will find a difference. For example, if you look at the edge here very closely, it's a little bit thinner than this edge, okay, because of the cut and imperfections in the process. Now, it is very minimal, guys, so technically somebody might look at that as a one-way deck, but really, guys, to the, you know, when you're performing and to the average spectator, if you take that and you turn it around, okay, there is no difference. Pretty much there's no difference, guys. Visually, there's no difference. If you fully examine it, yes, you will find some of the edges are a bit different, but in performance in real life, that's not going to matter, guys. So this is a two-way deck. You can turn both ways and it's not going to make a difference. Okay, this is important, and we'll talk about that in a few videos later on. Okay, now the pips are quite nice. They're quite big. Okay, some people like that. I don't think it looks too bad, but we'll get into what I think about it later on. Here's your pips. Okay, take a look at the cards, and we're just going to go through and find ourselves the ace. And later on we'll talk about the jokers. So here's the ace of spades, guys. Okay, check it out. It's got the same artwork as the box, lady in the middle of it. A bit of advertising at the bottom. But all in all, not bad. For a standard deck, it's pretty good. Alright, and now the jokers. So, the jokers I do like in the standard deck a lot. Not just because of aesthetics, but because of, well, the way they work. And what do I mean by that? Well, firstly, let's talk about the artwork, the aesthetics. Here you've got the king riding on the bicycle, hint bicycle deck. You've got your symbols on either side, which I'm really into. You've got colors on the joker, and the deck also comes with a black and white joker as well, the same version, but I really like the colored one best. Okay, again, you've got the 808 in the corner. Okay, we'll talk about all that stuff later on, but this is what your jokers look like, guys. Okay, and now the finish of the deck. Very important. When you finish a deck of cards, or when it's finished in the factory, okay, you got to rate it on how it comes out of the box. So the finish is pretty good. All right, for a standard deck, it's very nice and chic. Okay, it can get a little rough with time, or depending on how much you use it, but pretty much it's a nice smooth deck. I'm pretty happy with the finish and the overall handling and performance of the deck. Now, what do I think? So let's get into it. What I like about this deck, okay, is firstly the handling. It's got great handling. It's great for all your basic tricks, illusions, flares, whatever you're into. Okay, that's what I like about it. And it's a great price actually, guys. You can get these decks depending on where you shop. You can get them for a couple of dollars, not much. I've seen them for $1.49, $1.20. I've even seen them advertised sometimes at 98 cents. And I shop on Amazon, guys, but it just depends where you want to get them from. And they were pretty good because I had to pay international delivery, so that added a bit to the cost, but it was pretty good cost. Now, what I don't like about these cards is that the durability can be affected depending on how much you use them. Again, that's subjective because it just depends on what deck you're using, how much you're using it, how you use it, if you drop your cards, if you're throwing them around. So it is subjective, guys, but if I would improve anything, it would be the durability on these cards. Okay, I definitely want them to be a little bit more durable and not get so stained. Again, we'll talk about caring for your cards a bit later on. And also, the second thing I don't like about this deck is the pips. I personally believe the pips are a little bit too big. If you look at a 9 or something, I don't know, personally it just makes it look a little bit cheap to me. The pips are being so large. But it's just a personal opinion, guys. You can have your own. So don't hate on it, just my personal opinion about this deck. Overall handling and performance, I'd give it a 7. Durability 6.5, aesthetic 6.5. Total, I'd round it up from 6.8 to a 7. I'm going to give this deck a 7 out of 10 as my deck review score. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Leave me your comments. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.